formed a relationship. I assume through Lauren London and Cassie.
Yeah. Boog threw me the alley-oop, you know.
Oh, you hooked you up with Lauren?
No, I'm saying Lauren introduced me to Puff.
Puff.
Really?
Puff pulled me aside and was like, look, bud, you have showed everybody what it looks like to hold a man down and to love him. Now show them what it looks like when it all crumbles.
And Nip had no ego. So, you know what I'm saying? Like Nip came to me and said, I want you to mentor me. You know, I want to get into real estate. I want you to teach me all your, you know what I mean, like your business secrets. You know what I'm saying? I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up.
Kind of going hard at Nipsey, you said that there's a gay sex tape and like that.
Yo, Vlad, one thing you better not never do is question what come out of my mouth. You worth a lot of money. I got $5 million. You want to bet?
Where it came out.
It's only because of me that the damn tape still ain't came out today.
Since Lauren London used to be fairly close to both Diddy and Cassie in the past, her name has now surfaced in Diddy's ongoing lawsuit, and therefore, everyone is wondering what she has to do with this significant federal case.
I cracked you up.
However, Lauren remained utterly silent, even when the unsettling hotel hallway video surfaced, in which Diddy was seen touching Cassie. Some are even speculating that it may be connected to Nipsey Hussle's untimely death. Let's take a closer look. Nipsey Hussle and Diddy. In interviews, Diddy has talked about how close they were before Nip's untimely death. He claimed that Nipsey looked up to him and wanted to be mentored, saying things like, "I want you to teach me about real estate. I want all your business secrets." However, it's not just that Lauren London's name was mentioned during Diddy's high-profile RICO trial that has sparked a flurry of rumors. It's because word has it that Lauren was the one who actually introduced Nipsey Hussle to Diddy, and that connection eventually led to them developing a relationship both personally and professionally. Diddy claims that he was totally committed and instructed Nipsey to get in touch with him with any questions. As a result, they allegedly became close.
Had no ego. So, you know what I'm saying? Like Nip came to me and said, I want you to mentor me. You know, I want to get into real estate. I want you to teach me all your, you know what I mean, like your business secrets. You know what I'm saying? I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up.
However, with all that has recently surfaced, people are revisiting those times with new perspectives and are now doubting everything. One video in particular that has been going viral is a studio session with Nipsey. Diddy, even though Cassie and Lauren are present, there's a strange vibe about the room, and others are noticing how strange the energy is, particularly when Diddy seems to be laughing at Nipse.
I'm gonna clap all night, my nigga.
Yeah, I would.
Find me out different places. Smoke by the door, it's there for attraction.
Gene Deal, a former Bad Boy insider, added fuel to the fire by recalling how Nipsey told Diddy he wanted his music to have the same energy as Life After Death, Biggie's final album before he was murdered. Gene warned, "You've got to be careful. What you say to demons, it might come true." At the time, it might have just seemed like normal studio banter, but now it feels unsettling.
Said I wanted that same feel as Life After Death. That same feel was that Biggie got murdered. I was saying, you gotta watch what you say to demons, because it just might come true.
Gene Nipsey didn't need Diddy because he already had a strong team in place. He even stated it politely, but he received what he requested. And now that you think about it, it seems a little too coincidental. Nippy once stated that the record was essentially finished and that he merely sought Diddy's opinion.
Brought the album to Puff when it was pretty much done. He just got his feedback, played it top to bottom, just wanted to see what he thought. And he was like, it's room on these records to continue.
However, Diddy encouraged him to continue working on it. Was that really necessary? Did connecting with Diddy bring more harm than good? Is the question that some fans are now posing. All of this is made even murkier by the rumors that began to circulate following Nip's passing. These rumors were meant to harm his memory. For example, WAG 100 made unsettling allegations that Nipsey was involved in homosexual activities and even claimed to have a video to support their accusations.
Hard at Nipsey, you said that there's a gay sex tape and like that.
Yo, Vlad, one thing you better not never do is question what come out my mouth. You worth a lot of money. I got $5 million. You want to bet?
Wax stated that, out of respect, he declined requests to sell the tape, but the mere fact that he spoke it aloud raised eyebrows.
You want to challenge me to these you notice that the first baby mama who starred in these tapes has never one time said Whack 100 is lying. I didn't want it to come out.
People are wondering if there's more to the story, especially considering all the shady, freaky allegations now tied to Diddy, including those about secret lifestyles and blackmail Lauren and Diddy. At this point, a lot of fans are saying that Nipsey meeting Diddy might have been one of the worst things to happen to him, and the spotlight is now turning toward Lauren London. People can't wrap their heads around why she would introduce someone like Nipsey, who had so much purpose and integrity, to a man with a reputation like Diddy, especially considering how close Lauren was with Cassie, and all the abuse Cassie reportedly went through during her time with Diddy. It's hard for fans to believe that Lauren didn't know something, if not everything, about the situation, and if she did know why, connect Diddy and Nipsey at all. That's the question buzzing all over social media, because when Cassie finally went public with her disturbing allegations against Diddy, fans started watching Lauren closely, and what stood out was her silence. No post, no statement, not even a vague message of support, and the internet, being what it is, took that silence and ran with it. Now everyone's wondering, is she staying quiet just to avoid the mess? Or is her silence actually a form of loyalty to Diddy? That question got even louder as folks started revisiting her 2022 interview on Angie Martinez's IRL podcast. In that sit-down, Lauren mentioned that Diddy had pulled her aside during Nip's funeral and gave her what he considered a pep talk. He called her Boog, which was Nip's private nickname for her, and told her, "You've shown everybody what it looks like to hold a man down and to love him. Now show them what it looks like when it all crumbles. That's your responsibility."
Really?
Puff pulled me aside and was like, "Look, bud, you have showed everybody what it looks like to hold a man down and to love him. Now show them what it looks like when it all crumbles."
It may have seemed like Diddy was merely trying to reassure her at the time, but now that he is under federal investigation, fans are calling that moment unsettling, asking why Diddy even used Nip's personal nickname for her. It felt too intimate, too familiar, and now that he is under investigation, it comes off as a red flag. This leads us to the more important question. Will Lauren ever testify or speak out? There is talk, but most people think it's very unlikely that she will appear. In court, it's difficult to ignore her absence in all of this, especially when other celebrities are testifying. Take Kid Cudi, for instance, who showed up to court and gave us testimony against Diddy. And just by the way he walked in, you could see the weight on him. He looked worn out and he looked exhausted. He pulled out a cigarette and said, "All right, let's get over with." For those who may not be familiar with the whole story, let's break it down. Back in 2010, during what Cassie described as a break, in her relationship with Diddy, she actually began dating Kid Cudi. If Diddy hadn't introduced them, it seems that Diddy reached out to Cudi to help with Cassie's music career, and during that time, their working relationship began to blossom. However, when Diddy discovered the truth, he lost it. According to Cassie, Diddy went full-on scorched earth, allegedly extorting her mother, claiming that she had to pay Denny $20,000 to prevent him from doing something careless to her, or to Cudi, or from leaking those tapes. This is where things get dark.
His mother also telling the jury she took out a loan to pay Combs a $20,000 that he demanded to recoup money that he had spent on her, saying she was scared for her daughter's safety.
Additionally, she told the jury that she took out a loan to pay Combs the $20,000 he sought to recover money he had spent on her because she was concerned about her daughter's safety. According to reports, Daddy informed Cassie that he would have Kai's.
She started with a call from Cassie herself about 5:30, 6:30 in the morning, and Cassie relayed to Kid Cudi that Diddy had found out that the two were dating, and she sounded kind of stressed during this phone call.
They asked how she was acting, and Cudi said she seemed extremely stressed and scared. He ended up taking her to the Sunset Marquis Hotel because he thought it was off radar and safe somewhere. Diddy wouldn't think to look, But it turns out that wasn't exactly true. Cudi told prosecutors he also spoke with Capricorn Clark that same morning and that she was nearly in tears. She told him that Diddy was in a car outside Kai's house when the prosecution asked if Cudi called Diddy. He said yes, and what did Diddy say? I'm over here waiting for you. Then they asked Cudi what the outside of his house looked like when he got there. He said everything looked normal, but the thing was, he had security cameras and later found out they weren't working. He said the security cameras around his place had been tampered with, moved from their usual positions, and some luxury gifts he'd gotten from Chanel had been opened like someone had gone through them. Even more alarming, his dog, who usually had the freedom to roam the house, was locked inside the bathroom. That was way out of the ordinary.
Kid Cudi could verify that Sean Combs, aka Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, whatever we're calling him, was inside his home when he wasn't there. He said gifts were open on the kitchen counter, stuff was pretty expensive, it was from Chanel, and that his dog, surprisingly, was locked in the bathroom. After this break-in had happened, that his dog became jittery and was always on edge at the time.
Cudi responded, "I always let him roam. I've had him for 3 years, he's like family," when the prosecution questioned him about how he typically treated the dog. Following that, they inquired, "Did you notice any changes in the dog's behavior after the break-in?" "He was jittery and on edge all the time," Cudi retorted. Prosecutors then asked Cudi about seeing Cassie again, and he replied that she appeared to be very depressed. He also mentioned that they had spent time together in Connecticut because she needed to get away, and he acknowledged that Diddy had called him several times but didn't want to talk to him. Eventually, the conversation turned to Cudi's car, the Porsche that was mysteriously blown up. Cudi testified that he learned about the incident from his dog sitter, who called to say the car was on fire. When asked how he responded, Cudi said bluntly, "What theft?" When asked if he thought it was intentional or unintentional, he immediately responded, "Intentional."
Later, January 9th of 2016, a Molotov cocktail was lodged into the driver's side of his car, of his Porsche, mind you, and we saw a lot of exhibit photos from that Molotov cocktail.
Courtroom footage of the burning car demonstrated how hazardous things had gotten. If Cudi had been in the vehicle that day, it may have turned out very differently, probably even fatally.
Saw the actual cut, the hole in his Porsche, and then they saw the damage done from that Molotov cocktail.
Then came the story of a tense sit-down at Soho House. Cudi realized that things were getting out of hand and called Diddy directly, asking for a meeting. Diddy's longtime security guard, Drock, and Cudi's manager set it up. When Cudi got there, he claimed Diddy was standing there acting strangely composed, like a Marvel supervillain. Diddy told him, "We're homies. You know that's my girl." Cudi said, perplexed, "I thought you all had broken up." Diddy offered Cudi water twice throughout their talk, which Cudi considered peculiar considering the situation. They then asked Cudi what Cassie had said at the meeting, and he said, "She told him, 'We fell in love. Things happen.' Made the encounter even stranger." "What about my car?" was Cudi's direct question to Di when the Porsche came up. However, Diddy pretended to be unintelligent by stating, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Cudi stated he briefly didn't believe it and turned to leave.
It said something along the lines of, "What are we going to do about my car?" And Diddy said to Kid Cudi, "I don't know what you're talking about." Essentially, Kid Cudi believed Diddy was lying about this because, there were some objections thrown here and there, but he kind of snuck in there that he believed that Diddy was a violent.
Cudi would eventually run into Diddy at the same Soho home years later, and this time, Diddy stunned him by saying, "I'm sorry for all that BS. I didn't expect that. But I found peace with it," Cudi claimed. Now that things are getting more complicated, Diddy's legal team is attempting to deflect some of the criticism. His lawyer, Brian Steele, brought up the fact that DNA found in the burned car's remains belonged to a woman, which raised eyebrows. Was Diddy attempting to hide his tracks by hiring a woman to do the dirty work? It's unclear, but it undoubtedly raised more questions than it did answers, making matters worse. During court, Steele attempted to make fun of Cassie by implying that she played Kid Kai, but the public reacted angrily, claiming that Cassie wasn't playing anyone and that she was afraid, separating from Cudi out of fear for their lives. The situation then became even more heated when the prosecution asked Kid Cudi directly, "What did Miss Ventura confide in you about the abuse she went through?" Additionally, Cudi claimed that Cassie had informed him that Diddy would strike and occasionally even kick her. When the prosecution inquired about Cassie's mental state on the day of the break-in, Cudi replied, "No, not at all." Then they turned their attention to Capricorn Clark, who was Diddy's assistant at the time. They asked what Capricorn had told them, and Cudi responded that something crazy had happened when Sean Combs, an affiliate, had forced her into a car and forced her to come to my house. Kai claimed to have been so horrified by this that he had called the police right away. The fact that Diddy allegedly forced Capricorn Clark, his own assistant, into a car to confront Kid Cudi is just another level of deranged people on the internet. Suge Knight had once mentioned something akin to this. When Diddy discovered that Capricorn Clark had been assisting Cassie and Kid Cudi in concealing their relationship, he beat her up. He even implied that Interscope had to pay Capricorn off to keep her from disclosing what she knew, which, if accurate, supports the theory that Diddy wasn't acting alone and that there was a whole apparatus working behind him to conceal the chaos, by using hush money and threats to keep people silent. Prosecutors asked Cudi, "How would you describe Cassie's emotional state that day as they returned to the courtroom?" And he said that she was extremely shaken just by him learning about us. He made it clear that when Diddy found out about their relationship, Cassie's life became even more challenging and dangerous. They then asked Cudi why he and Cassie ended up splitting up, and he replied that the drama was getting out of control and that he wanted to give space. The prosecutors then probed further, asking what drama Cudi claimed was the break-in for both her and my safety, before asking, "Why were you so concerned about safety?" "Because I knew Sean Combs was violent," Cudi added. People are now giving Kid Cudi his flowers for having the guts to testify, because Cudi had seen and experienced enough that he thought Diddy was dangerous and capable of taking things too far. It's not easy to stand up to someone as strong and feared as Diddy, but Cudi sat there on that stand, told his truth, and laid it all out. The public knows it. As of right now, the prosecutors are doing what they need to do in this case. Bit by bit, they're connecting the dots, demonstrating a pattern of abuse, control, and violence. And while this case is far from over, one thing is clear. A lot of dark truths are finally beginning to come to light. We'll just have to keep watching as it all plays out.